Okay, so activate that. I am going to use MechJeb for this because I don't want to have to fiddle around. I've now you've seen me previous episode launch. You're probably not going to want to see me do it again. So I always click on resources just so you can see what you're using, and you end up realising when your electricity is low and stuff. Okay. Now I think we've got to be quick with this, but if I click spacebar, I think we will fall down. No, I didn't think we did. We were just about to. We're still going up, but we're going up so slowly. I'm just going to use my mainsail just to get us up to speed, because these little engines aren't powerful enough. But they do enough of a job. But I don't want to use them too much. Hopefully, as the atmosphere gets thinner, you end up that kind of you've got plenty of space sort of stuff. So yeah, hopefully this will work, and we'll have a little space station. So this is only a diddly little thing. Once it's got its solar panels all set up, it'll actually be a bit bigger. But you want to have a little modular space station, which means if anything ever breaks or goes wrong, you can kind of detach it, and just nicer. Because my first space station was just a big blob. It wasn't. It was actually fairly similar to this in some ways, but it didn't look very good, and it was kind of a bit awkward. It didn't really do much. It was basically just you could dock with it, and then it didn't store much fuel. It just had a very small engine, and it was a bit rubbish. This is, because it's modular, this has got power, RCS tank, and SES, and Kerbal storage, so if I ever wanted to save Kerbals or practice EVAs or something, I could have Kerbals at my disposal. I'm actually going to quickly want to change my orientation so I'm going the right way. Okay. I have got my lights on. Okay, I'm just turning my mainsail on just so I have plenty of power, because you don't want to run out of and as soon as these get really low on power, you want to turn them off. If you're wondering why all my throttle is gradually kind of reducing, it's because I have MechJeb utilities is trying to prevent jets from flaming out, so it'll basically reduce my throttle until they kind of get really low like that. Then you just turn it off, and you can see I hardly used any fuel. I think they used 30 units of liquid fuel, which is nothing. Let's get rid of that, and I think we should be fine. We seem to have quite a lot of fuel, really. Yeah, well, I think we're fine. Our apparatus is here. This is our target, sort of, but not really. So we're going to want to get to, at the moment, 100. Start our gravity turn, and I'll continue it, so we're not all over the place. All this means is that instead of flying straight up, you're kind of going sideways. And then there. Okay. Which just means you need less fuel when you're doing this. So actually, I've not done this wrong, but it's not how I want. I want to be at about 90 meters, so I'll just get that to about 90. that'll be fine. So I'm just going to click node because I can, and it's in a minute, and I've got about 20 seconds of burn time, which should be okay, I think. I'll save it just because I can. So I'll just speed up. So we want a slightly smaller orbit than our we want a slightly smaller orbit than the kind of the orbiter we're trying to kind of get to. Which means, no, sorry, we don't. It's behind us. Prograd. What am I doing? I'm doing this all wrong. Okay, so we're in about 100 orbit, although that's 90. However, we want to go a bigger orbit a larger orbit. So I'm just going to quickly extend my orbit to about 110. I'm just going to set this as our target. And actually, no, we don't. We'll be fine at 110. My mistake is a while. If you have a larger orbit, you travel slower round the planet than someone with a smaller orbit. So I will slow down, and the other orbiter will catch up on me. Why have I done that? I've just kind of completely, not messed up, but I've still got quite a lot of fuel. There's a little nifty little rocket. So I'll extend that as well. I'll just go a bit bigger. Okay, now we're going to time warp, and if we go on Rendezvous Planner, we can see its separation at closest approach is gradually reducing, which is basically because we're not on a closest approach yet, really. So the closest approach is going to gradually reduce, so we just need to wait. It should be about 40 seconds, I think. And yeah, it's counting down about 10 kilometers per second. So hopefully it will. No, maybe not. Just going to want to expand our orbit a bit more. There we go. Separation at closest approach. You can see here is fairly close. So I'm just going to want to do a couple of little maneuvers. So here we're at the descending node, and at the descending node it means that at that point your orbit is going down. Is like, so an extreme thing would be if my orbit was going like that. But basically my orbit, if you look, I can't really show you, but at this point I start travelling down relative to its orbit. So I want to be pointing upwards, which is what I am doing. And I can just really carefully, if I turn on RCS, no, RCS is a little bit, RCS didn't seem to do very much. Okay, so now we've hardly got any, our relative inclination is 0, which means this is even closer. However, at apoaps, it's here, add maneuver, I just want to extend, no, sorry, do I want to extend or reduce? Hang on, closest approach. I can't figure out what I'm doing. Hang on, let's look at this. So our orbit is higher than its orbit. So I'm going to want to add a maneuver here and reduce my orbit. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing. Seems very weird. 2.3 kilometers, okay. 3 kilometers. Wrong way. 3.8 kilometers, also the wrong way. 2.9. 2.5. Okay, anyway. 2.4. 2.3. 2.4. Okay. So we're going to want to go towards the node. Turn off RCS so I don't waste it. And we're going to do a very small maneuver that shouldn't take more than a couple of, well, about half a second probably. And it's in 10 minutes, so should be fine. Okay, so I'm just going to speed up, time accelerate until we're about a minute, and then slow down. Oh crap, that was a bit silly. Okay, let's do a very small maneuver. Okay, so now we're going to want to go point prograd. This is my plan. Get rid of that maneuver so it's not all annoying. As you can see, our current distance is 2.3-ish, and our thingy is going a bit crazy. So if I thrust with RCS forwards, it gets closer. So I can, with RCS, reduce this much more accurately. So I'm now thrusting backwards with RCS, and it's ever so slightly reducing that. So it's now 1.5 here. I'm not sure why that says 5. It seems a bit odd. No, I don't want to do that. I think at this point, no, I don't want to do that. I want to go radial. We're going to use 20 monopop. I'm just going to point outwards, so you can do this all manually. And once I'm there, turn on RCS. And with RCS, I can then basically change the time of our encounter. So gradually, this is getting closer and closer. You can see it's. I'm actually going to use my main tank just because, and then I cock it all up. Because I got to about just under 1 kilometer, and then I kind of did the wrong thing. Okay, so point back towards the Earth, or not back, keep pointing at the Earth, Kerbin, and then we're going to want to reverse. So tap Shift and then click X. Okay, so now it's fairly close. So now we can fast forward time, and then here we want to line ourselves up. Actually, no, turn off. We want to be in target mode, but we want to, you see this little target, that's basically our relative velocity. We want to be pointing in the opposite direction to that so we can slow it down. I'm just going to try and change our closest approach a bit. So fiddle around thrusting and stuff. Fiddle around thrusting. Wow, that sounds a bit weird. Okay. So I'm just going to try and thrust towards it, which should reduce my closest approach. And I want it at least 100. Okay, now I'm going to want to point in the opposite direction fairly quickly so I don't crash into my space station, or crash into the thing with my space station. And there we go, we've just kind of cocked up quite a bit. Target relative. I'm just going to use mech jab quickly because we kind of messed up a little bit. Go towards the target. So now our closest approach is about 100 meters. Oh, windy. And I'm probably just going to use RCS for this because we're hardly going fast at all. Okay, so now we're relatively close. So if we go orbit normal down, we will also point in the opposite direction to this orbiter. So we can quickly change to this. I'm going to want to go open shield, change back to this. So that's using the square brackets keys. And I can also, just to show you, I can open up my solar panels and line myself up with the sun. You can see how beautiful my space station is. Facing the wrong way, annoys me. Okay, so now I'm reasonably close, hardly moving at all relative to it. Okay, so what I should do now is undock this, and I think that's what I'm going to do. And put away my solar panels just so they're not in the way. Okay, now I'm going to want to control from here and not hit that like I'm just about to. That was a bit stupid, but it's fine. That was a bit silly of me. Okay, so now using J, K, L and I can make sure I'm thrusting the right way. And lots of time acceleration. I'm using the wrong one. You can basically look at your closest approach, and you want to try and get that down as low as possible. So now it's 27, and I'll wait till that gets to about 27. And now it's going to 8. And this, hopefully, if I click set as target and make sure it's controlled from here, if I don't crash into it. Okay, now I'll just back up a bit. Basically, you want to line them up. Now, you can do this on this kind of, I forgot what it's called, on this nav ball. I think that's what it's called. Just towards it a bit. You basically want to get the pink bit right lined up. And then make sure you keep making the pink bit as perfectly lined up as possible. And then, I think, you can dock. And that was a perfect docking, almost. Control from here. Go to normal. Okay, so now we've got all that, and we're going to want to toggle solar panels, which I think will fold all these ones away, and all these ones will expand, which is really good. So now we have this, which I can right click and click rename, change it to station, sorry, not station, and call it space station. Now you don't need the one, because you're probably not going to have more than one space station. But something I'm now going to do, for time acceleration reasons, is change this. No, I think I'll leave it where it is. Basically, if you go to a higher altitude orbit, you don't need... No, sorry, if you're in a high altitude orbit, you can time accelerate faster. Which is really useful eventually, because you want to be able to time accelerate faster. And actually, I'm just going to go control from here, undock, and I'm just going to rotate myself. Nah, over them. Oh well. Well, there goes our space station. We'll have to figure this all out in a bit. Okay. We want to control from there. Then we're going to go to this and click on control from here. We're then going to click target parallel. No, parallel minus. Ah, over them. Oops. Well, this is how to mess up everything in Kerbal Space Program, is when you try and be OCD. Okay, well, I'm really sorry about this. I'm just going to have to redock. Okay, so now point towards my target. And you can see how much quicker it does everything now. So I'm going to get my closest approach down to about 50 is fine. Oh no, wait, I want this way. Turn off RCS for the moment because I don't need it. Turn off my solar panels. Disable them so they're not all weird. And wait till I'm about there. Turn on RCS. Okay, so now I'm going to want to get that pink thing lined up again. But what I really would like to do is to do this. That's fine. Basically, I couldn't have the solar panels on this, on my, not space station, but on my orbiter thing. I couldn't have them lined up because okay, let's time accelerate for a second. Yeah, they weren't lined up properly, so I'm just going to... Ooh, I don't want to do that. Dot them again, and now you can see they're lined up properly. So now, if I extend all these panels, well actually I just click 0 I think. All my solar panels can be extended at the same time, which is silly, but just it's nice. So now I can also click orbit normal. Just control from here. And then rotate so all my solar panels are facing the right way. If you look down, you can make sure they're all lined up. This is like proper OCD Kerbal Space Program. There you go. That's about fine. Okay, so now we have a space station, which I'm going to rename space station. Okay, rename. Still count as a space station. Okay, so now I have a basic space station. I don't want to call it. It's not a very good one. It's just it's something you can dock with, and I can dock lots of fuel tanks with it, and it's fine. It's got a probe. It's all good. It's got a tiny bit of fuel in here, a bit more in there. So now I could either expand my space station or try and make a moon lander. And I think I'm just going to save actually. I'm going to go for a moon lander, and that is going to be in the next episode. So thank you for watching. Sorry about all the fiddling around, but hopefully you can understand what I've done and replicate it yourself if you haven't already. And thank you for watching. If you liked it, please like, and I hope you enjoyed it. And hopefully see you in the next episode, which will be soon, hopefully. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.